Hi, I'm Stefan, the BMW DIY guy. Do you want to upgrade the charge pipe on your B48 BMW? I'll show you how. All right, guys, so let's talk about this project a little bit before we do it and the reasons why you would probably want to do this on your car. So now there's a pipe between your turbo and your engine intake, and it's called your charge pipe. Now this is the upgraded metal one from Kies Motorsports, but BMW has plastic charge pipes on pretty much their entire turbo-driven line. Now, I'm not a big fan of them, and even if your motor is stock, right? Now, if you've got a tuned car, absolutely update your charge pipe today. Like do it immediately, order it immediately, right? But even on the stock cars, the charge pipes can break because what happens is you've got plastic, you've got heat, and you've got pressure. So one of those days maybe you're getting on the on-ramp and you really get on it and you get that big shock of air pressure up through your charge pipe, and right where your charge pipe meets up against your intake, it can break. It'll actually snap and flex the plastic and it'll break it. Now, it's not a huge big deal. It's not like your car is damaged or anything, but it's a huge hassle, especially if you're out on the road and that sort of thing. So I am a huge proponent of upgrading your charge pipe. It's an easy upgrade. You can get them from Kies Motorsports, and I'm going to show you how you can install this in your car. All right, so let's go over and let's get started. All right, also here we are underneath the car. So one of the very first things you want to do is go ahead and take this front cover off. It clips here underneath and has a little rubber post. So go ahead and take this and set it safely aside. And then if you want, you can pull your engine vanity cover too. You don't necessarily have to, but to just make sure you've got enough room to get to the bolts we're going to remove right here, go ahead and just lift that and take it off and set it aside. So once you have those off, it's really easy to see the work that we need to do. Your charge pipe is right here in front. There is a big clip right at the bottom, and I'm going to rearrange my camera so you can see that a little bit better. There's a big clip at the bottom that we're going to pull. The pipe will come off the turbo, and you can see where it comes up here into the intake, and there's just a series of bolts. Now, we're also going to want to take these sensors off as well, but let me rearrange my camera and show you that lower section first. All right, also, I've got highlighted here so you can see it, and I'm going to use a pointer here. You can see right there the top of this clip, and this is this kind of horseshoe clip that goes around the charge pipe right there, and you can see where it's got an upper loop on it right there. And we're going to use, you can use a screwdriver. I like a curved pick tool that'll curve around and get a good handle on it to lift that up and out. Okay, so when we talk about the clip at the far end, that's what we're looking at right there. A little bit hard to see, you know, I can't get the camera all the way down in there, but it's really easy to see by eye. And that's the only thing keeping that end of the charge pipe onto your turbo. Now, up here at the top, we're going to want to go ahead and take these sensors out. Now, you've got your pretty much typical BMW clips right here. As you can see right here on this top one, it's got the little gray locking tab. You want to very gently pull that tab back, and then you should be able to walk this plug off of the sensor. If you look over on this side, you should have the same thing. You've got a little locking tab right here. Hopefully you heard a little click. And then this sensor will walk itself off. And you just got to make sure the clip is far enough out to get that off, just like that. Okay, so go ahead and unplug both of these. Now, the sensors that are actually here in the charge pipe, we're going to transfer to the new pipe, but go ahead and leave them in for now because we're going to take them out and transfer them to the new pipe. So go ahead and take both of these off, and then we'll also look at the torx bolts up right here at the top. There's three, 1, 2, 3 that hold this in place. There's one you can't see underneath, but it's really easy to find. You can come at it straight from the bottom and get at it right there. They're T30s, I believe, but let me confirm that, and then we'll get this pipe off. All right, so once you pull that long horseshoe clamp off the far end, that end will be loose, and you pull it down and away from the from the turbo, and you pull out these 3 T30s right here at the top, and with your sensors unplugged, the pipe will come right out. So as you can see where that horseshoe clamp would actually fit in right there and slot in. But it really is that simple to get the old one out. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab the new one, and we're gonna get set up and we'll get it installed. All right, so there's a couple of things we're gonna wanna do first before we get into the install. So now, that locking collar, we took off the OEM pipe, we're not going to reuse, that only goes with that, and the new one has its own. Now, there is a gasket here on the inside. You could always take just a little bit of oil and just put a little bit of a track of oil around the gasket. That'll help to slide it in, help slide it into place. Now, one thing you can do on this And this would be hard to explain with it in place, so I'll show it to you now. So you can see how this locks in. This locks in on either side, and this tab comes down when it's locked into place. And you're going to want to take this and walk it up and off. Now, potentially, you can take it all the way off when you put it on. You're just going to have to be able to reach down and guide this around to get it in, guide it around, and down, and snap it back into place. Sometimes, that's the most common way to do it. Sometimes you can get it kind of half off. See, as you can see me struggling with it, right? You can get it kind of half off, sitting off to the side. And then when you slide it into place, all you have to reach in is just push down and snap it back into place. So try which works best for you. Now, you've got this joining rubber boot. You've got a narrow end, a more narrow end, and a bigger end. The narrow end goes on the turbo side. Go ahead and use this opportunity to get this set in, and go ahead and put the hose clamp on and tighten it down nice and firm, so you don't have to worry about that once it's into place, because we're going to take this and just fit it down onto the turbo and lock down that collar. Then this will be in place. On the other end, obviously, we've got to transfer our sensors. Okay, so I'll show you that on the OEM pipe, but we're going to take, there is a big kind of plastic nut that for the sensor on this side. We're going to back that off and put that back in. You've got your sensor here on this side that we're going to take off, and the OEM screw we're not going to reuse because we're going to reuse the bolt here that comes with the pipe. Now, if you do take your pipe a little bit further, you've got bungs in these pipes as well. So if you decided to spray meth or something similar, you absolutely could. So potential upgrade, so not only upgrading the pipe itself, but if you go further down the road of upgrading your performance, you're already set for it. Okay, so let's get the sensors transferred, and then we're going to get this reinstalled. All right, y'all, so as you can see, the turbo side is on. Make sure that you pull on it. It will wiggle a little bit, so it being able to move is not unusual. That doesn't mean it's not secure. Go ahead, and but if you pull on it and it doesn't come off, it is secure. Now, here's a cool trick with that horseshoe collar. Remember a second ago, I was showing that horseshoe collar trying to pull it up. It wants to snap back into place, which is the locked position. And when in the locked position, you're not going to be able to slide the end of that pipe on. You know how much I abuse my plastic trim tools? So with the pipe, I lifted the collar up, that collar up on one side, and slid my plastic trim tool underneath it just to hold it up. So then when I slid the pipe down and I pushed it completely flush up against the turbo, and then I just pulled my plastic trim tool out, bang, the collar snapped right back into place. Super simple. I wasn't trying to reach deep down in there and trying to fit that collar on and doing all of that, which is just really kind of a hassle, right? So that's kind of a cool trick if you need it. Now, on the upper section, make sure to transfer your sensors on both cases. Now, like I said, the new pipe has a new Allen bolt right here, so transfer and use the new Allen bolt, transfer your sensor over. This sensor just screws into place, and I find that it was really pretty much just snug. Don't crank on it. It's plastic threads in the metal. You wouldn't want to break it. Now, lastly, make sure to check your gasket right here. Your gasket can pull out. In this case, it's in perfectly intact condition, so it doesn't need to be replaced. So that's good. So now all you need to do now is fit this down into the rubber boot. Make sure you have your hose clamp on beforehand before you fit it in, so then you can arrange your hose clamp and get this set into place, and then just set it up against the intake. At that point, you can put all three of the existing T30 bolts back in. You can snug up the hose clamp, plug your sensors back in, and you're pretty much done. All right, so I'll show you what that looks like when it's done, but this really is a very, very awesome but easy upgrade. All right, y'all, so all buttoned up, looks absolutely fantastic. So you reuse those T30 bolts here at the top. Those just go back into place. What I actually found, especially with this one, is that it can be a little bit hard to get to. So I just used a small wrench with a T30 bit, and just to put that into place. So 1, 2, 3, and the one underneath that you can't see, but you can easily feel. Make sure to plug your sensors back in. They only go in one orientation. Now, the OEM pipe had that little metal ridge or plastic ridge right here on top. You know, the metal pipe doesn't have that, but that's okay. Just bring the pipe over the top, or the cable run over the top right here. Make sure that your MAF sensor's down and snug and plugged in with the clip push back into place. When you go down and you look at your little expansion boot here, you have your hose clamps all tightened down nicely, and the pipe is in and solid. And remember how it used to move before? Remember when I wiggled this end? You can see once it's in place, it doesn't move at all. But make sure that these are really, really snug, and you've got a little bit of gap. Whenever you do hose clamps, don't do them like right up against the edge of the boot right here, just in case if they slipped. This gives them a good grip on the boot. Tighten them down. You can use a screwdriver or an 8mm socket or wrench will also work on these. At the far end, obviously we've got that clip on, or that base pipe. The bottom pipe wouldn't be on. All in all, it's done. So all you have to do at this point is go ahead and put your vanity covers back on. The top one just snaps down into place, back on the post. The front one goes back underneath the tab here and on the little grommet post right there. And you're all done. Well done. All right, y'all, so all done. And as you can tell, this is not a hard project at all. It only takes a few simple tools. And don't forget, everything that you need will be listed in the video description below, including a link for the product itself. I don't know why you wouldn't do this, honestly. Change out that plastic charge pipe, get a good quality pipe in from Kies Motorsports. The install is really, really simple. And you can have peace of mind that your pipe is not going to break. Okay, and then also it could be a big step forward, if you're going towards higher power, you're going to tune your car, that sort of thing. Absolutely do it then. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please make sure to click like and subscribe. It honestly makes a huge difference to my channel, and I would personally really appreciate it. Thank you to Kies Motorsports for making such a fantastic product. I love working with their stuff, and as you can tell, it was an easy install. Thanks again, and I'll see you on my next video.